Hey guys, it's Shannon. Today I'm going to bring you 4 fall wreaths that I'm going to be creating using only supplies from the Dollar Tree. So let's get right into it. I used about one of each of the different kinds of wreaths that Dollar Tree offers. And the very first wreath we're going to start with is this coffee filter wreath. This is a really simple wreath. You'll need a foam wreath form, some coffee filters, glue sticks, a glue gun, as well as a unsharpened pencil. All you have to do is use your coffee filter and wrap it around the end of your pencil, add a dab of glue, and then use your pencil as a stabilizer when you are placing your coffee filter onto the wreath, and just kind of hold it there for a few seconds until the glue starts to set up. So this does take some time, but it's very simple and easy. You just keep adding those coffee filter bunches all the way around your wreath. So you want to make sure that you're getting the outside and inside edge as well as all of the space in between. My method was to keep checking the top. If I saw any green poking through, then I would go back and add a coffee filter into those empty spots. You just keep adding filters until your entire wreath is covered. Next, you want to pour yourself a cup of coffee. Well, yes and no. We're actually going to be staining this with coffee. Since it's a fall wreath, I wanted it to have a more neutral tone versus the stark white color. So a little bit of coffee on a paintbrush toned it down and gave it more of a rustic, fall warm feeling. Once the coffee filters had completely dried, it was time to add the decor. I added a burlap pumpkin, of course from the Dollar Tree, first, and then sort of poked in some hydrangea flowers and some pomegranate berries, also all from the Dollar Tree. And here is a look at the finished wreath. You would never know that this was all supplies from the Dollar Tree. It actually turned into quite a large wreath. It's nice and full, and I love the warm, cozy feeling that it has. This wreath would be great on a front door with a storm door to protect it from the elements, or it'd also be beautiful over a mantle or hung on a wall as well. The next wreath we'll be making is this super adorable owl wreath. And here's a look at the supplies that you'll need for this wreath. I'm using more of the grapevine style wreath for this project. Also some bunches of leaves, berries, and these daisy style fall flowers. And then I'll be piecing it all together with hot glue and a glue gun and using a pair of scissors. First, I chose 2 of the daisy flowers that were pretty much the same size to use for the eyes of the owl, and just hot glued those into place. Next, I cut a few leaves in different colors to give the wings some more depth, and I chose a larger leaf and a smaller leaf to layer. So I just glued the smaller leaf on top of the larger leaf and then glued those both down into place, about down the center of the wreath on each side. Next, I snipped off a couple of the berry branches and cut them down to size. And then I actually hot glued a couple of the berry branches next to each other, and that gave it a cute little bird foot look. And then I created 2 of those and hot glued those to the bottom of the wreath. Next, for the owl beak, I set aside one of the yellow colored leaves and cut that down into a beak shape and hot glued that in between the daisy eyes. And last were the owl horns. Again, they were just leaves that I hot glued behind each one of those daisy eyes. This was such a fun and cute little wreath to make. I think this would be so nice, even made larger with lots of leaves to give it lots of texture. So this is just kind of a small take on this, but you could really run and use your creativity to create a really nice looking full owl wreath. The next wreath we're working on is the willow leaf wreath with lots of fall leaves. And here's a look at the supplies that you'll need. Of course, I am using the willow wreath for this project. You'll also need lots of fall leaves and this really cute sign from the Dollar Tree. Again, I'll be using lots of hot glue and a pair of scissors for this. The first thing I did was trace the wreath size onto the back of the sign, and then I used my scroll saw for the very first time. This is my first project. Let me tell you, it was not the easiest thing. I definitely need lots of practice, but at least I got a chance to try it out. You could also use a jigsaw or a handsaw, anything to cut your corners off of the wood sign. And then I just hot glued the sign onto the wreath and then cut out lots of leaves. I chose all of the green and yellow leaves, the ones that complemented the colors in the sign. And then I used my hot glue to just randomly place the leaves and glue them down onto the wreath. I left an open space in the top left so that I could add a bow, and I used some burlap, also from the Dollar Tree, and just made a regular sort of bow tie bow with little tails, and I used some jute to tie the middle and cut the strings off and hot glued it into place. Once the bow was in place, I sort of tucked some extra leaves around it to fill up the space. And here's a look at the finished willow wreath. I love that you can see bits of the wreath through the leaves. It's such a fun, warm fall wreath with all the leaves, and I love the little saying gathered together. And Dollar Tree has lots of really cute signs. You really could take this idea and pick your favorite sign and create one that matches your favorite sign. I hope that you are enjoying these tutorials. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and now we're on to the next wreath. Our last wreath is this very neutral farmhouse style burlap wreath. Here is a look at the supplies that you'll need for this wreath. I'm using this wire form wreath. I'll be using some chalk paint and some paintbrushes, raffia, these burlap leaves, which I also created a tutorial and made a banner with these. If you missed that, I will have that linked below. I also have some burlap style ribbon and these pumpkins that are actually on clips. And of course, my trusty glue and glue gun. So I started by hot gluing my ribbon to itself and then wrapping and wrapping and wrapping this burlap ribbon around. And I ran out, so I just hot glued the ends together and started a new roll and finished covering the wreath and gluing the end down. To give these mini pumpkins more of a farmhouse look, I just used my chalk paint and painted them all white. I had some burlap ribbon left over from wrapping the wreath, so I just used what I had left to create a loopy bow. Now for those cute burlap leaves, I took the chalk paint again and added the veining detail, and then I also went back around all of the edges to sort of define the edges of the leaves and then set those aside to dry. Once they were dry, it was time to assemble the wreath. I added the burlap leaves on first, 2 on the left side and 1 on the right. I added that bow in between them and made sure that was nice and secure. And then once that was dry, I took the clips off of the pumpkins that I painted white and just hot glued those, 2 of those to the ribbon. I added another fall touch, adding some raffia. I just folded a bunch in half, tied a knot at the bottom, and then snipped the end off, and then tucked them in with some hot glue into the sides of the bow, and it gave it that extra little bit of texture. And here is a look at the finished neutral burlap wreath. Again, I just don't think you would ever know that this was completely made with all supplies from the Dollar Tree. The Dollar Tree also had these same burlap leaves in fall colors such as red and orange, so you could take this and turn it into more of a traditional fall look with the fall colors and not paint the pumpkins white and have a completely different look, but still a beautiful fall wreath. So now that you've seen all 4 of my fall DIY Dollar Tree wreaths, let me know in the comments below which one was your favorite. I would have to say my favorite is the coffee filter wreath. The pictures and video just do not do it justice. It is gorgeous in person. I hope that this tutorial inspired you. Make sure to give it a thumbs up for me. You can also share this with your friends and family and inspire them too. Don't forget to subscribe. I do DIY tutorials every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You can also hit the bell so that you're one of the first to see when my videos do go live. And I want to thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye guys.